Hello, Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, guys, and this is TransurfingTV. And today on TransurfingTV, I'm going to resume our Hacking the Technogenic system lessons. I kind of backed up off of it for a minute. I hit it and quit. I was going pretty hot and heavy on these, and then I stopped, and I kind of asked myself earlier when I was deciding what I was going to film today, why that was the case. And I sort of arrived at this place that I probably was a little bit turned off by some of these live food lessons, and Vadim made a statement about becoming an elitist. And I remember a few months ago when I was on his Instagram feed looking at some of his posts, there was a ton of political and COVID talk and vaccine talk and stuff like that. And it just, I'm not resonating with it. I'm trying to do my own thing, and I'll just call it. I mean, I know a few of you have said something in the comments, but it does appear that in certain ways, it kind of looks as though Vadim might not be following his own teachings, or he's evolving into some other things, or going into some other things that are maybe away from the core of the transurfing knowledge. At least from my perspective, I could totally be wrong, but this is kind of, for me, I have to remind myself of my own advice to others. Take what you need and leave what you don't, right? There is a bounty of benefit in these Hacking the Technogenic system lessons. There's also some weird stuff that doesn't sound very transurfy, and I need to remind myself, take what I need, leave what I don't, and derive the value, right? So I would suggest for those of you that have commented along the same lines of what I'm talking about, same deal, take what you need, leave what you don't. So today, chapter 17, The Impression of Childhood. I've not yet read this. I'm curious to read it, and I will get started on it. But before I do, remember to like this video, comment below, subscribe to this channel, join us on the International Transurfing Institute Facebook group for conversations about lessons like these and others. All the shirts, and I mean, who in their right mind would not want a blacklisted shirt? I actually wore this out in public the other day, and somebody goes, "What does that mean?" I'm like, it's a long story. It's a very long story. But yes, if you want a blacklisted shirt or a transurfing shirt, definitely check out our Spreadshirt page, and all the proceeds go to TransurfingTV. Follow me on Instagram, reality_transurfing, and all the links and courses and everything that your little heart could desire transurfing, all in the description below, so check it out. Okay, I will get right into it. Chapter 17, The Impression of Childhood. Here I will continue to discuss the topic of the previous chapter, where we talked about the coordination of intention. For those of you that don't know what coordination of intention means, it is the transurfing way of saying advantage. So in the Tufty modality, we say advantage, and in transurfing, we say coordination of intention. It simply implies that you are coordinating with your reality, even in circumstances that may up front seem as though they're not beneficial to your intention, actually are. We painted our world in orange along with all the events and circumstances we thought had a negative tint. And we can actually make everything that we hate, or almost all of it, desirable. It remains only to apply the same principle when dealing with people and their actions. We are now beginning to discuss techniques for clearing your world of the weights that you must shed. If you've paid attention, you must have noticed that transurfing does not cure problems, but removes their causes, i.e., severing Gordian knots in one fell swoop. In addition to this, it is not worth it to search for the reason which led to the appearance of this or that situation, but your search may take because your search may take a long time and you may get lost in it. So the best thing you can do to ease your way into the future is to get rid of the things that cause the presence of these weights. In that moment, the current problems will go away on their own and no new problems will arise. In other words, you should not pay attention to the past or to the present, but instead to your intended future. Move forward so that nothing is left behind. You will only reach where your intention is directed. The expression, live in the present moment, is not true in this context. There is no power in the present moment. The power is in the moment that precedes time, and that exact moment will determine the course of the daydream that you are living. We will talk about this later, but for now, this is the only information to contemplate. If we now recall the little girl who painted her world orange, we could ask ourselves if we can do that in practice. Fortunately, the situation here does not require the possession of special skills or extraordinary efforts, because the world will automatically acquire joyful colors if you use the principle of intention coordination in your relationship with it. This is also true if you use the principle of intention coordination towards the given situation, with the actions and behaviors of others. Anyone whose perception is alert and active at this moment will catch me red-handed and say that actions and behaviors are one and the same. Here lies the heart of the whole issue. With or without reason, we are used to harassing others, interrupting them, and criticizing them for the smallest fault. But if their mistake is great, then we do not hesitate to curse them. This is what most of us do automatically and instantaneously. When others do something we don't like, then a red light turns on in our heads and we hurl insults at them in written or spoken form. This is especially true on the internet, where there are enthusiasts of every color who cannot be physically caught and kicked. It is a spacious place where anything is permitted. Kind of like you did to me, huh, Vadim? Despite what is said about the necessity of calmly accepting criticism, it really does not bode well for anyone, be they the critic or the subject of the criticism. The best that can be said is it always looks ugly. Isn't that interesting? If you are now in a state of psychological equilibrium, try to imagine objectively and impartially what it would look like to curse someone or something, speak obscenely, express indignation, or express discontent. There is no doubt that it is a really ugly scene, regardless of whether the obscene reaction is justified. God, I can't help but saying it. I'm so sorry to interrupt again. But kind of like you did with this, I mean, is it just me, or does this seem like super hypocritical? I know it's probably not the best example to use with the author, but my God. We do this because the impression that has been inoculated into our mental structure from early childhood is that when someone who is older than us scolds us harshly and indignantly, it means that he is right, and there is no doubt that we have done something foolish or wrong. Since adults know more than we do, they are considered higher and better than us, while we are still young and reckless and inferior to them. But the little ones say, listen then, we do not want to be inferior to anyone. Based on this, the following position has been formed in our mental structure from childhood. If it is not the other person who is scolding you, but you are the one reprimanding him, then this means that you are right and that you are better than and superior to the person you are reprimanding. If we look deeply at this, we will realize that this reaction is naive and primitive and at the same level of intelligence as invertebrates. On the other hand, he also creates a sense of superiority, albeit a temporary delusion. But some of us somehow feel that we are above the others. It is necessary to take this into account. It is necessary to take this into account in this context, always remembering that this is just an illusion, which lifts you up from within, but in your mind only. You only imagine it, but from the outside, the situation does not look at all impressive. If we take the internet as an example, since it occupies a large place in our reality, we imagine what the critic looks like, look for a way to prove his personality, then we will see that he is no different from the domestic puppy who raises his tail and barks, and in the same moment raises his leg and urinates, even if he is right at times. But what effect did he leave to indicate this? He left a trace of dirt. Isn't this fascinating? So the question is, what works and what trace do these people leave behind? There is absolutely no doubt that the work of those attacked by critics remains. I myself was compelled one day to paint such clumsy pictures as necessary to break the impressions of childhood and to illustrate the reality of things. Ugliness is not the only word that characterizes the primitive reaction that results from resentment, as there are 3 other reasons that must prevent us from acting like this. The first reason is in the effectiveness of the boomerang. Whatever you throw into the mirror will come back to you, be it beautiful or ugly. The immediate conclusion from this is to not give others what you do not want to receive. If you focus your attention for a while, you would discover after some time that you yourself are one of them under the same legal article and for the same reason. This happens most of the time. It is rare for a boomerang to bounce back in a different form, but it does not bounce back nonetheless. But it does bounce back nonetheless. Anyone else can condemn you for your other actions. You can also encounter something that you hate. From a logical point of view, see the link between it and what you have thrown at others. So why the confusion? Where do all these attacks come from? No matter what you ask and no matter how much you search, the answer in the end will only be a torrent of boomerangs that you will have to dodge. There is no doubt, of course, that not everything is on this level of inevitable symmetry, but the presence of the law of the inevitable in this is beyond doubt. And in this way, the impressions of childhood, despite their seeming innocence, are the cause for many clashes, starting with family disputes and ending with Star Wars. The second reason is due to the effectiveness of the mirror. The mirror deals with the essence of the issue with indifference, completely ignoring where it is heading. Because for it, the matter is the same, whether you support or reject it, because it only reflects your vision. But this reflection comes the second time to your reality to cast a darker shadow on you, because the expression of condemnation often accompanies feelings and is formed through the unity of heart and mind. When you express your indignation and resentment, you are thus throwing more weight into your world. Remember that the projector displays the tape which it is placed in it and nothing else. Then finally, the third reason is that you may be wrong. When you attack the other with all kinds of criticism, you are certainly not right in that, because you cannot be aware of all the data that makes a certain person act in a way that he does, nor will it conform to your vision. What would you have done if you were in his place? In any case, you cannot know all the circumstances, reasons, and considerations of others. Everything is relative in this universe, except for a few exceptions. We will summarize the rest of the chapter through the following points. Well, I personally find this very, very fascinating. But I'm just going to continue and stop interjecting with my 2 cents. But I think it's very safe to say that Vadim's definitely channeling this knowledge for sure. I'll just say that. 1, in general, when you show indignation about something, or when you insult someone like the government officials, football team members, the weather, or your colleagues, you broadcast an ugly image to the world mirror and thus get a similar reality in return. 2, the talk here is not about canceling the differences. Rather, the important thing is that random choice does not control your attitude and actions. Instead, conscious intention must be present. 3, often it is better to express without caring about the thing the things that cause you negative emotions. So do not give them too much attention and do not be influenced by anything that you do not want to have in your sector of the world, because it is enough to allow someone or something that grabs your attention in a negative way to enable that negative thing to immediately pass into your reality. 4. If you do not succeed in ignoring, but have fallen into the trap of emotion, you must not attempt to gain self-control by force, because such an effort will be in vain. You must understand that you must control the situation, not the emotions, because the situation can always be changed by consciousness. Instead of cursing, for example, do something completely different, like making a compliment. Example, are you tired of the hustle and bustle of your neighbors? You could instead say they are fun, creative, and innovative. 5. Whatever the circumstances, tolerance and indulgence are the nature of kings. 6. Keep waking up when the vague dream is dominating the situation. When everyone around you is lost in their unrealized dreams, it is better to respond to this dream. It is better to respond to this dream, but do not see in it anything more than just something interesting and exciting. 7. The last thing we have to say here is that in order for all of this to work, it is necessary that you train yourself to identify the moment when you allow consciousness to intervene. Anytime you don't like something and feel the need to react negatively, stop yourself. Notice if the red light in your head turned on. If it did, then open the monitoring and control system to regain control of yourself. What else should be done here? You definitely know the rest. You will not gain experience directly, but gradually after some work and after many failures. And then the previous random impression will stop directing and controlling your life. You will be surprised and amazed when you discover that the causes of discontent and resentment around you have become less and less, and your world will become clean and pure and radiate a warm orange color. Well, I definitely turned the red light on in Vadim's mind, right? And this is how he responded. And I swear to God, you guys, I did not know what this lesson was about today and wear a shirt that was in line. But I think this is a really, really excellent representation of putting into your world something negative that is going to come back to you, right? That red light switching on, you responding by throwing a boomerang, and of course, Transurfing 101, what you throw out, your attitude, your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors, it's all going to come back to you via the world mirror. So, you know, this is a surreal lesson. I will say that. 8. The world acquires bright and joyful colors automatically if you deal with it according to the principle of intention coordination, with regard to the given situation or with regard to the actions and behaviors of others. From early childhood, the following impression is inoculated into our mental structure. If older people scold us firmly and angrily, it means that they are right and we are doing something wrong. 10. From early childhood, an inherited reaction was formed. If you are scolding someone and not the other way around, then this means that you are right and you're better and higher than the person you are scolding. 11. Whatever you throw at the mirror will come back to you, whether it beautiful or ugly. 12. When you express your indignation and resentment, you are polluting your own world. Oh my God, it's so true. 13. If you attack others with your criticism, then of course you will be wrong. 14. When you show discontent or insult someone, you are sending an ugly image to the world's mirror and it will reflect a similar image to you. 15. But this does not mean that disagreement, confronting someone, or defending yourself and others when it is really necessary are actions that you should generally avoid. 16. It should be a random impression that controls and directs your attitudes, but it should not be a random impression that controls and directs your attitudes, but conscious intention. 17. You will not be able to change anything permanent in this world, but you can replace the tape that goes around in your projector with another tape. 18. Attacking the screen and redirecting the display are two ways of living that are completely different from each other. 19. You must control the situation, not your emotions. 20. When you are going through the variation stream, pay attention to the accompanying signs and signals. Listen to what the mirror says and do as it tells you. 21. Keep waking up when everyone around you is lost in a random vague dream, and do not see this dream as anything more than an interesting and exciting fact. 22. It is essential that you train yourself to identify the moment you must allow consciousness to intervene. Did the red light turn on in your head? Yeah. So open the monitoring and control system. When you are bothered by something that makes you anxious or irritated, go to bed and sleep. It's the same when you realize that something is stressing you or teasing you, that you can wake up in a daydream the same way as in a normal dream. There is no difference, as neither one is important. If you have enough energy and awareness, you can control and direct them. Or direct this dream, sorry. Thanks to the team, Mohil, Bashir, Teodora, Tirza, Abdigafor for editing this, all the people that are involved in making this project happen. So this is a very, very interesting lesson. I think that for those of you that have followed the drama of ITI and Vadim Zeland and me and all this stuff, it's pretty fun, right? And this is the coordination of intention. This is the coordination of intention. That's what I'm doing right now, right? That's why I own this stuff and I make light of it and I have fun and I use it for novelty and entertainment and all this stuff. Because if I get caught up, as some people have in these dramas in a negative way, it's like, what is that going to do for anything? Even Vadim Zeland, and his stance in regards to me and ITI, what does it do for anything, right? What does it do for any of his intentions or any of his goals? It doesn't suit or serve anyone to get caught up in any external drama for any reason that is going to turn that red light on, cause you to throw that boomerang, and what's going to come back to you, right? There was a dude the other day that went off on me for wearing the blacklisted shirt on one of my dance videos, and I'm just like, man, do you get any of it? Do you get any of it? Or is it all completely eluding you? Whatever transpires in your external environment, period, respond to it with fun. And, you're enjoying that thing. That thing is providing you some sort of positive benefit. But do not, under any circumstances, lose yourself to yourself and your reality, right? And have that red light turn on, respond by throwing a negative boomerang out, because that negative boomerang is going to come back 100%. There's no doubt about it. It might not be instantaneous, but it will come back to you, right? So this is really what this lesson is about for me, and I'm very, very curious to hear your comments and questions and thoughts on this one, guys. This is a juicy one. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and stay tuned for the next one. Chapter 18, I don't know what it's about. Hopefully it's as juicy and as fun, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.